People can't afford private hospitals and their last hope is public hospitals. Now those public hospitals are also putting them in debt right now. When a person gets that money, maybe trying to feed his family, is going to have to pay a hospital debt. Public hospital. I didn't know this. I really didn't know it. And this is wrong, man. This is wrong on so many levels. Because there's the main function of a public, whether it's a public clinic or public school, any public facility, the whole purpose of it is for it to be free. So that the people who cannot afford, because there are some people who are really in serious poverty, who are dependent on these public hospitals. Now, if you're going to charge those people, because that same 50 rand, it might seem like a small amount, but to some people, that money is the deciding factor between going to bed hungry or going to bed having eaten something. You know, so to someone out there, it might seem as if, nah, but 50 rand, it's not that significant. To some people, it's significant.
Ngiyakhokha ngikhokhiswa nje ngoba noma ngichaza ukuthi angisebenzi mhlambe kuze kube lokho ke mhlambe ukuzwela kwabo angithi yabona kodwa le nto kusho ukuthi ihlala njengesikweletu ukuze makwenzeka ngiphinde ngithola mhlambe into njengomsebenzi fanele ngiyikhokhe lo mali ngoba ihleli isikweletu.
You know, they are right when they say we learn every day and we are going to learn until we die. Yesterday, I just learned that I didn't know at all that in public hospitals here in South Africa, they are allowed to charge us as the citizens, depending on whether you are employed or unemployed. And if you are unemployed, whenever you are going to the hospital, they can record that thing down like a tab at a bar when you are buying alcohol on credit. They can record that thing down, 50 rand, now you came 50 rand, 50 rand, 50 rand. And then when you get a job, you are supposed to pay that money to public hospitals in South Africa. I didn't know that. That one I didn't know. And that's why I decided to make this video, because I know that there are some South Africans out there who were as surprised as I was when I heard this thing. Because apparently there's a hospital that was covered in the news by Newsroom Africa there in KwaZulu-Natal, in Umlazi. So apparently there's a hospital there that is charging patients 50 rands when they go to that hospital. And it's a public hospital. It is charging people 50 rands. Even though some people explain that they can't afford that money because they are unemployed. And then when they say they can't afford it, they tell them, would know, they can record it down. This with 50 rand, this month you came 50 rand. And then when you get a job, you are supposed to pay that money. So that thing was a surprise to a lot of people. That is why it even ended up in the news, you know, because a lot of people didn't realize there's something like that here in South Africa. And then the KZN Health Department didn't hide. They actually came out and said what they are doing there at that hospital is something that is within South Africa's policy. So the hospital, basically what they are doing is right. Asking 50 rands from patients who don't even have that money in rural areas. That one came as a shock to me. It really came as a shock to me, because we can see the state of the nation. We can see the rate of inflation. We can see the rate of unemployment. We can see the rate of crime. Now people are supposed to pay hospitals, public hospitals. People can't afford private hospitals and their last hope is public hospitals. Now those public hospitals are also putting them in debt right now. When a person gets that money, maybe trying to feed his family, is going to have to pay a hospital debt. Public hospital. I didn't know this. I really didn't know it. And this is wrong, man. This is wrong on so many levels. Because there's the main function of a public, whether it's a public clinic or public school, any public facility, the whole purpose of it is for it to be free. So that the people who cannot afford, because there are some people who are really in serious poverty, who are dependent on these public hospitals. Now, if you're going to charge those people, because that same 50 rand, it might seem like a small amount, but to some people, that money is the deciding factor between going to bed hungry or going to bed having eaten something. You know, so to someone out there, it might seem as if, nah, but 50 rand, it's not that significant. To some people, it's significant. It's the same as this situation of public schools demanding 50. Maybe it's the same thing, man. It's the same thing. Oh, because if you can pay attention in our public schools in rural areas, they demand 50 rands. And this thing has been happening for years now. Okay, now my brain is starting to connect these two things together. Because this one I know. It's public schools, it's been years now. Public schools have been demanding 50 rands from parents of children in public schools. Whether those 50 rands, I don't know what we've been asking in communities. Goody, what are these 50 rands directed towards? Because each and every school in public school in our communities in rural areas demands 50 rands from parents, and then those 50 rands, the parents don't even understand what those 50 rands are for. Obviously, they will say those 50 rands, we are going to use them to build a wall or fix the fence and things like that. But the things that they always say those 50 rands are directed towards, that's not what happens. Those 50 rands are just paid by the parents. Even on January, when some parents are trying to register their children so that they can come back to that particular school, the school can actually say, if you don't have the 50 rand, we are not going to give you stationery. You first have to pay the 50 rand before they give you stationery. You know, this one has been happening in our public schools. Okay, so maybe it's the same thing with this one of the hospitals. But no, man, this one of the hospitals, because of the schools, okay, even though now I don't really get it, but the schools, okay, no one's life is in danger. But we are talking about the hospital here. The hospital, the thing that people depend on for their livelihoods. Now they have to have anxiety when they have to go to a hospital thinking, I don't have 50 rand, they are going to tell me about 50 rand there. Last month I also went there, they told me about 50 rand. I'm starting to feel embarrassed. Now people are going to have anxiety when they have to go to hospitals because they don't have 50 rand. Even though it's a policy, it's a government policy, I don't think it should be implemented in hospitals. Okay, maybe in schools, because it has been happening in schools for years right now and nothing is happening. So I guess maybe it's working in schools, but hospitals, no. Hospitals, you can see it's affecting people. That's why it even ended up in the news. This one of schools, 50 rands at schools, never ended up in the news. That's why I'm saying maybe it's not that significant in schools. But in hospitals, charging people, because you are going to give those people anxiety. They'll end up not going to the hospitals because they are afraid you are going to tell them about 50 rand that they don't have. You see what I mean? So this one was very shocking to me. But now I'm starting to link it with this one of the schools. That one I know. You know, as I'm speaking like this, my mind is working behind the scenes. It's connecting this thing. You see, it's like that one of the public schools. So these public facilities, what's up with these 50 rands? What's this 50 rand thing when it comes to our public facilities? Schools demanding 50 rands. Now it's hospitals. This one of our hospitals I didn't know. But what's up with this thing of 50 rands in our public facilities? And as they said, the KZN Health Department, it's actually a policy. It's within law. They are not doing anything wrong. Maybe they are they are not robbing them. It's a policy. It's something that they have to do. So I don't understand why that policy had to be implemented in the first place, and why they had to implement it in hospitals. So let me stitch a video of this whole situation right now so that you can get a proper picture of what's happening, so that you can hear the people who are affected by these things speak up for themselves, even though they refused to show their faces. I don't know why they are afraid, but they refuse to show their faces. So but they managed to get the message across. So let me stitch that clip, and then you'll tell me on the comment section down below what do you think about this whole situation, because it was a total surprise to me. But it's no longer surprising me right now as I'm linking it with this one of the public schools. So I guess it's something that is happening. So tell me whether you knew about this thing, or now it was a surprise to you like it was for me. Tell me on the comment section down below, and whether you agree with it or you think they are just trying to rob our South African citizens. Tell me on the comment section down below. But if you just enjoyed this video or you learned something new, please leave a like and subscribe to this channel. I would really appreciate it. My name is Emmanuel, and this is Mzansi Versity, the place where we transform lives through knowledge and information. Let's meet again on another video.
Patients at Umlazi's Prince Msheni Hospital say they are being forced to pay for healthcare that should be free. Some claim they're charged 50 rand per visit. They allege that the failure to pay is recorded as debt and the amount accumulates each time they return. The KwaZulu-Natal Health Department insists that this is in line with national policy. But those who are unemployed and struggling have a hard time understanding the system. Nobuhle Modise has more.
For many South Africans, public health care is their only option. But for some patients at Prince Mshiyeni Hospital, that option comes with an unexpected cost.
Ngiyakhokha ngikhokhiswa nje ngoba noma ngichaza ukuthi angisebenzi mhlambe kuze kube yiloko ke mhlambe ukuzwela kwabo angithi yabona kodwa le nto kusho ukuthi ihlala njengesikweletu ukuze makwenzeka ngiphinde ngithola mhlambe into enjengomsebenzi fanele ngiyikhokhe lo mali ngoba ihleli isikweletu.
The Provincial Health Department has put out a statement saying paying at a government hospital is part of national policy, where patients are divided into three categories: those who are unemployed, those who are employed, and those who are on medical aid. It has been quite difficult to speak to people on camera about whether when they enter this gate behind me, they are made to pay. Many of them saying that there is a fee that is required of them. I had a nurse tell me off the record that there is a fee of 50 rand that patients are supposed to pay, be it they're unemployed or employed. Everyone pays a flat fee of 50 rand, and if they're unable to pay that 50 rand, it is then documented as a debt. That's the information we have thus far from outside the hospital, from patients who unfortunately don't want to speak on camera. The department denies claims that personal belongings are withheld, saying only hospital property must remain on site.